Hi, my name is Dan, and this video is one in a series of videos I'm doing on crafting systems in video games, which is part of a larger suite of videos that I'm doing on game design topics. So it's aimed at people who are designing crafting systems. And in this one, I want to focus on some real basic ideas of crafting. So there are things here that no doubt you will know, but I always find it useful to go over the absolute basics just in case. So I'm going to talk about what crafting is, and then I'm going to talk about where crafting mostly appears in games. So you start with the idea of a recipe. They can be called other things, but a recipe is a term that's quite widely used, which is what you're going to need to put together and what you get out at the end, and potentially some other information about where you need to do it or what kind of equipment that you might need. So crafting is generally split into different recipes for different outcomes. Sometimes you can achieve the same outcome through different recipes. And maybe sometimes it's the other way around. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so then what you need once you've got the ability to do the crafting, so the recipe is known by your character, then you need to gather the materials. So typically you'll need some stuff to make your final product out of. There's all sorts of things that can be. Typically things like wood and possibly flowers, coal, rock, iron. There's also a lot of crafting is based around iron and metals, or some systems are, but there could be all sorts of other things involved in that. And usually the player has to gather the materials in some way. And I'll talk more about that in a later video. Then you make things. So you actually make an active choice to make something. In some ways, it's a bit like casting a spell, in that you have a point in time at which you actually make this happen. And what you basically do is you transform your raw materials, sometimes called mats, into your outcome. So you get some kind of artifact at the end, which will be an item that can be stored in an inventory or in all sorts of other things. And I did a whole series of, well, a short series of videos on such things recently. So if you want to know more about that, go look at that. And then finally, you either use the thing or you sell the thing, or I guess you store it in your bank forever after more. That's up to you. But mostly the crafting is done in such a way that the things that you create are useful, and if not useful, at least sellable, so you get some positive benefit afterwards for having crafted. Right, that really is the basics. I said I was going to do some basic stuff. I will be exploring more when I do a video on common approaches to crafting, which is coming soon. See you later in the series. But to finish off with, I want to talk about some of the different genres that crafting has appeared in, and to give you some examples of some of my favourite games with crafting in. So RPGs, quite a lot of RPGs these days have some kind of crafting system in. Here's World of Warcraft with a complex profession system, and by profession they mean crafting. Yeah. Here's Skyrim, which has targeted crafting in different categories, and it looks quite different, as you can see, from the World of Warcraft. Here's one that you might not know, which is Portal Knights, which is a sweet little game, which is, well, not that little, but it's a cross between an RPG and a Minecraft type game. And these are the crafting stations that, or some of the crafting stations that you can have in Portal Knights. There's open world survival, so we have to mention, of course, Minecraft when you're talking about crafting, because it's all about, of course, mining and crafting and a few other things. Here's another one of my favourites, called Craft the World, and it's a 2D, as you can see, crafter, but you don't do direct crafting. You get your little dwarves to do the crafting for you, so you give them orders So it's a management game, and it also has elements of uh, tower defense built in, and you get waves of enemies coming at regular intervals. It's a great little game. Um, there's automated factory type games, and there's a whole area of these now. It's all about creating stuff and crafting, but it also includes the element of automation. And this is an animated GIF from Factorio. As you can see, it's very busy. Factorio, again, I would big up that game. It's a great game. And there's a lot of stuff going on in it. And the focus of this isn't just making things, but it's actually making things that make things, and then creating conveyor belts and ways of transforming your materials from one to another in an increasingly complex web of manufacturing and creating. Factorio is not the only game in this genre. There's quite a few other games around there. Uh, so, um, so yeah. And trading games. So some trading games have crafting in them. So this is Avorion, which is a nice game about space exploration and trading and adventuring and a few other things, but that includes um, excuse me, automated crafting as well, which allows you to mine resources from some places and send them to factories and eventually get some money as a result. It's an interesting mixture of lots of different things. Isivorian, and again, I would recommend it as a game. It's a good game. So that's some basics. Come back and see another video soon, but that's it from me for now.